It is 8 o'clock in the evening. Outside, the blizzard is doing what blizzards do, which is everything, all at once, with complete indifference to your plans. The wind is moving at 40 miles per hour. The temperature is 11 degrees Fahrenheit and dropping. The snow is horizontal. Inside, you are warm. You are safe. You are home. Then the lights click off. The refrigerator hum dies mid-cycle. The heating unit goes quiet in a way that feels, for just a moment, like the building held its breath. You find a candle. You lock the deadbolt. You pull a blanket off the couch and you sit there in the amber light and you feel, genuinely, physically feel, the security of being inside while that is happening out there. Here is the problem with that feeling. Your apartment is not a shelter. It never was. It is a grid-dependent life support box. It has no insulation strategy that functions without power, no water supply that functions without pumps, no air management that accounts for what desperate people do when they get cold enough. The moment the grid died, the box stopped working for you. It has already started working against you. Let's run the levels. Level 1. The concrete freezer. 12 hours. Your building is made of concrete, steel and glass. These are excellent materials for a great many things. Thermal retention is not one of them. Concrete has a specific heat capacity of approximately 0.8 joules per gram per degree Celsius. For comparison, wood is roughly double that. What this means in practical terms is that your building's structural mass, the walls, the floors, the ceilings, does not hold warmth the way you imagine it does. It holds cold. And it distributes that cold efficiently and continuously into every surface your body is in contact with. Without central heating running, a concrete apartment building in a blizzard does not simply stop warming you. It actively extracts heat from you. Every surface you touch is colder than your body. Every surface you touch is pulling thermal energy away from you at a rate determined entirely by physics and not at all by your lease agreement. But the building itself is only part of the problem. Consider your neighbours. The unit directly below yours has been empty since Thursday. The couple who lives there went to visit family for the holidays and will not be back until Sunday. Without anyone generating body heat, cooking, running appliances, without any internal heat source whatsoever, that unit is equilibrating with the outside temperature. It is approaching 11 degrees Fahrenheit. Your floor is sitting directly on top of a unit that is becoming a block of ice. In thermal dynamics, this is called a heat sink. In this context, it means you are paying the thermodynamic price for your neighbour's vacation. The cold is not coming from outside. It is coming from below you. It is coming from beside you. It is coming from the structural mass of a building that was designed to be comfortable with the grid running and was never tested without it. At 12 hours, the interior temperature of your apartment is somewhere in the mid-50s Fahrenheit and falling by roughly 3 degrees per hour. Level 2. The 10th floor trap. 24 hours. You are thirsty. This is not a complicated problem. You walk to the kitchen, you turn on the tap, and nothing. A brief gurgle, a pressure drop, then silence. Here is the infrastructure you were relying on without knowing it. Municipal water systems maintain pressure through a combination of elevated storage tanks and electric pumping stations distributed throughout the distribution network. Gravity handles the physics for the lower floors. The water pressure on floors 1 through 3 or 4 is maintained by the height differential between the storage tank and the tap. No electricity required. Above floor 4, the elevation differential is insufficient. Electric pumps are required to push water upward against gravity at the pressure required for normal use. Those pumps run on the grid. The grid is down. The pumps are off. If you were on the 10th floor, your water supply did not gradually decrease. It stopped immediately. At the same moment, the lights went out. Your tap is dry. Your toilet will not flush. The 1 gallon of water in the tank behind the toilet bowl is the entirety of your stored water supply. And once that is gone, it is gone. You paid a premium for the view. You paid a premium to be above the tree line, above the noise, above the street. What you actually paid for, thermodynamically and hydraulically, is a dry concrete cell at the top of a freezing building with no running water and no way down through a stairwell that is currently pitch black and getting colder by the hour. The penthouse has the same problem. It just cost more. Level 3. The carbon monoxide box. 48 hours. The living room is 35 degrees Fahrenheit. You can see your breath. The candles are not helping in any meaningful thermal sense. A standard candle produces approximately 80 watts of heat, which is roughly equivalent to a human body at rest, which means you have added 1 candle person to the room, and the temperature is still 35 degrees. Your fingers are slow. Your thinking is beginning to follow. This is the point where people make the last mistake they ever make. The camping stove comes out of the closet, the propane heater from the garage. Someone in the building has a charcoal grill and they drag it inside because the heat it produces is real and immediate, and the cold is real and immediate, and the body does not respond well to abstraction when it is 35 degrees. Here is the biology that the body does not warn you about. Carbon monoxide binds to hemoglobin in your red blood cells with an affinity approximately 250 times greater than oxygen. This means that in an environment with elevated carbon monoxide levels, your blood preferentially fills its oxygen-carrying capacity with carbon monoxide instead of oxygen. Your cells begin to starve. Your brain begins to starve. Your organs begin to starve. The symptoms are headache, dizziness, and fatigue. Symptoms that are completely indistinguishable from being exhausted and cold and stressed in a dark apartment during a blizzard. You do not know it is happening. Your body does not trigger a panic response. It triggers a sleep response. Modern apartments are sealed for energy efficiency. The weather stripping, the double-paned glass, the insulated doors, all of it was designed to keep conditioned air inside and outside air outside. It does this job without discrimination. It keeps the carbon monoxide inside with the same efficiency it keeps the cold outside. The heat they manufactured is the thing that kills them. The medical examiner's report will note that they appeared to have died in their sleep. Level 4. The shatter point. 72 hours. By hour 72, the ambient temperature of the drywall in your apartment has dropped below 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Inside that drywall, running through the structural cavities of the building, are copper pipes. Those pipes contain water, pressurized municipal water that was sitting dormant in the lines when the pumps stopped 2 days ago. That water is now at 32 degrees Fahrenheit. It is freezing. Water expands by 9% when it transitions from liquid to solid. 9% does not sound like a large number until you consider that the copper pipe containing that water has 0% tolerance for expansion. Copper does not flex. It does not accommodate. When the pressure from the expanding ice exceeds the tensile strength of the pipe, and it will at a calculable and inevitable point, the pipe does not crack. It shatters. But you do not know this yet. The water inside the pipe is still frozen. The fractures are inside the walls. The building is silent. Everything appears from the inside to be the same as it was an hour ago. Cold, dark, static. Now imagine the grid comes back on. The pumps restart. Pressure builds in the distribution system and pushes into the building's internal plumbing. The water finds the fractures, dozens of them, throughout the building, inside the walls, inside the ceiling, inside the floor cavities, and it follows the path of least resistance, which is no longer the tap. The water is now moving through the structural interior of the building, thousands of gallons, inside the walls, finding every fracture simultaneously. The building does not flood from outside, it floods from within. It was always going to flood from within. The grid coming back on is what triggers the disaster.
Here is the complete picture. You did not survive in your apartment. You waited in it while it systematically removed your heat, your water, your air quality, and its own structural integrity, in that order, on a predictable timeline, driven entirely by physics that were always present and never advertised. You do not own a shelter. You rent access to a fragile grid. The building is not your protection. The building is the grid's last physical expression, and without the grid, it is concrete and glass and copper pipe doing what concrete and glass and copper pipe do when the temperature drops below freezing, which is failing. Quietly, structurally, and on a schedule you can calculate in advance. Thermodynamics does not care about your lease agreement. The cold does not negotiate with your square footage. The pipes do not check whether you paid your rent on time before they shatter inside your walls. Subscribe. We don't sell hope. We sell the math.